All right. Howdy there. Now, you may notice that the lighting's a little bit different. I've actually got, it's very cold out. It's down, I think it's like 6 degrees Fahrenheit out. And I just have some heat lamp bulbs shining right down here in this corner of the studio to get it warmed up to knock the chill off of. But if it looks weird, doesn't matter in this video. This video today, it's not really about the look of things. It's not about seeing. This is a video reply to Daniel Kisielski or Kisielski. I'm from Kansas, so my pronunciation on people's last names isn't always the best. My pronunciation isn't awesome. But anyways, this is a video reply to Mr. Danny Kisielski. Danny comments, "I'm Daniel. I'm a blind musician and I have a challenge for you. Please try to make a video of you playing your jaw harp with your eyes closed and let me know if a person with little to no sight can play the jaw harp. I like the jaw harp and I'm interested to know if a blind person can play it. Thank you and your videos are great." Well, thank you for saying that. And yes, I can make that video, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to close my eyes and I'll describe to you what a harp feels like, the different parts on it, and also we're going to go ahead and we're going to do a little instructional video, and I will describe in as best detail as I can how to play the harp. Now, with my eyes closed, I have a harp here. This harp I'm holding here is a Zalogy Chancellor in D. It's an Austrian pattern harp. So on any harp you pick up, Danny, you'll find that one end is going to be fatter than the other. So picking up and feeling the harp, feeling around the base of it where it becomes wider, this area of the frame, you'll feel in the middle of there should be either a crimp or sometimes the reeds on these harps are screwed. But anyways, that is what fastens the reed, which is the springy piece of metal in the center, to the frame. And if you feel down the reed, you'll feel where the arms of the frame become closer. This is the embouchure area. And the area, that's the area of the frame where it angles in and comes close to the reed. And the tighter that area is, actually the better it will play, mostly as a rule. But anyways, we'll follow the reed down to the embouchure area, and then you'll feel where the reed turns out. It'll turn it, some harps turn at a 90-degree angle, some of them turn it like a 45 or a 60. But anyways, you'll feel where that reed turns out, and then you'll either feel a bent area. Sometimes it's a loop, sometimes it's a bent area, sometimes it's a solder ball, but this is called the trigger. And when you're playing this, you'll want the trigger facing away from your face. Now, first let's go over how to hold the harp. You feel along the frame where the frame gets wider. Go ahead and take your thumb and your middle finger and pinch them together and hold the bottom of the frame. And then your pointer finger is going to sit on top of the frame. Now the harp, the area where you felt where the arms get closer to the reed, that area is going to go in your mouth. Now your teeth aren't going to be clamping on it, but the front face of your teeth is going to be lightly pressed up against those arms of the frame with a slight space in between your teeth so that the reed can move in between the frame and also in between your teeth. So grip your harp, feel to where the bottom base gets bigger and also that the trigger is facing away from your face. Pinch it in between your thumb and your middle finger and rest your finger on top of the harp. Now, we're going to put the harp up against the teeth. We're going to lightly place it up against the front of your teeth. You're not going to bite down on it, but you're just going to let the front tips of your teeth, of your incisors, rest up against there. Or I have kind of weird teeth. I let the tooth next to my incisors rest up against it. That's more comfortable for me. But anyways, take and rest that up against your teeth and put your pointer finger, there's many different ways to pluck the harp, but what I'm going to have you do is take your pointer finger with the harp put up against your teeth, put it up against your cheek and slide it down your cheek till you feel that bent area of the trigger and pluck it straight outward 4 times. Now, if you get a slight clicking noise, which is really common as a beginner to get that clicking noise, it's not a big deal. What that means is that you're plucking at an untrue angle. So just adjust the angle that you're lightly pulling out on the trigger so that you don't get that clicking noise. And also you can go ahead and you can pluck inward. Once you get outward plucking down, we're going to do the same thing, plucking inward. Feel where the trigger is and use your finger or your thumb to pull the harp gently inward in a straight line. Well, you're going to do that 4 times. I find it easier as a beginner. I moved my hand and not so much my finger. So go ahead and put it back up against your teeth and pull the harp 4 times. Now, once you get the basics of plucking inward and plucking outward, there are some things that you can add to it. You'll notice breathing out. As you pluck, either inward or outward, breathe out and breathe in. It changes the sound. And after you get good at breathing inward and outward, well, actually what we can do is we can take that inward and outward breathing and we'll put a little rhythm together. I'll breathe outward, inward, outward, inward. Now, after you get that down, you might move on to plucking inward and outward and breathing inward and outward and putting together a little tune. And if I was talking through the harp, I'd be saying like ho hee hee ha, ho hee hee ha. We'll pluck again and say that. Ho hee hee ha, ho hee hee ha. There's lots we can do talking through the harp. All of your vowels seem to work out, like A, E, I, O, and U. Let's go ahead and we'll say A, E, I, O, and U each time we pluck. A, E, I, O, U. Pretty cool. We can use those vowel sounds to put together rhythms as well. Like I'm going to say A-O, 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 and I-O, I-O, I-O. A-O, 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 I-O, I-O, I-O. And after that, some areas to progress in as a beginner are putting together percussive noises like T, ta, di, da, li, la. Now I'm not actually talking through the harp, I'm just mouthing those percussive noises and those vowels as I use the harp. So let's go ahead and we'll put some percussive noise together. We'll say Tito, Tito, Tato, Tato. Those are just a few of the areas that you can play the jaw harp. Now the jaw harp, it's not an instrument of sight, it's an instrument of feeling. So I think once you get acquainted with how to hold the harp and how to play the harp and a few beginner noises and putting together some rhythms together, I think you're really going to enjoy playing the harp. And one thing that I noticed when I was starting out, I would put together a little rhythm and I'd be playing a little rhythm. Then I'd accidentally make a mistake, something I didn't mean to do, and notice that, oh, that's pretty cool. And I'd leave that mistake in there and I'd grow and learn from that. But anyways, I'm going to go ahead and put together a little bit of playing with my eyes closed. And it's just like any instrument out there. I think once you get the muscle memory of how to play it, how to hold it, how to use the instrument, sight won't be very important at all. And a lot of times, sometimes when I'm playing by myself, I'll close my eyes and it really helps me get sucked into the music. But anyways, I keep going on and on. Let's go ahead and I'll go ahead and play a little jig on this. Well, I hope that helps, and I hope that I was descriptive enough in the harp. And Danny, if you have any other questions about how to play the harp or what harps are good for beginners, or if there's anything else I can do to help you out, just leave me a comment and I'll make you another video, or I'll answer it in the comments as best I can. But anyways, that's going to wrap it up for Eyes Shut, Harp Out.